Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to our channel. My name is Beck. I am a professional mindset coach, a medical doctor and the founder of the group coaching program Dare Darling. Dare Darling is a space for women who are hardworking, driven, ambitious and successful. But they're ready for a new strategy in their life so that they can create some different results. And don't get me wrong, the results that they've got in their life are very impressive. And what's also true is they're not enough for these women. They're not enough for you, for us. We want a different level of experiencing life, a different level of fulfillment in our lives. And that requires a strategy that is more nuanced than taking the path that everybody else recommends and fulfilling others' expectations. What society suggests will create that fulfillment for you, and simply working hard, using willpower and overriding yourself in the process of achieving that. So the link is down below if Dare Darling sounds like a space that you would benefit from being in. Now in today's video, I want to continue to build on one of the most life-changing concepts of mindset coaching, and something that I continue to learn even so many years on from coaching and doing my own self-coaching. It is something that doesn't come intuitively to me or always naturally to me because I've thought the opposite for so much of my life. And that is that others' thoughts say more about them, have more to do with them than you. Now I'm taking a bit of a different spin on this today that you might not have heard before to help you see how this concept applies in your life. Because sometimes, I'll show you these things in different ways and I'll teach them in different scenarios. And sometimes, and certainly this has been the case for me, sometimes the concepts don't really land until I can see it in a specific scenario in my life. And then I'm like, wow, now I get it. Now I really understand. But before that point, before seeing how that specifically, uniquely applied in my life, it was all just talk. It was all just theory up until that point. I could intellectually nod my head and be like, yep, I believe that. I will try to live by that when I can be conscious of it. But until you can really see the concept play out in your life and see how it affects you, see what results it creates for you, then you won't necessarily have the motivation to really take it on and embody it. And you won't necessarily change your identity like we need you to do if you want to truly start to live an empowered life. So the situation that I want to apply others' thoughts being more about them than me to today is actually with the people that I feel most lucky to have as a part of my life. With the people who I think, wow, I am so lucky to have people who think this way about me, who believe in me specifically, or tend to think of me in the highest regard. So I am so lucky in my life to have numerous friends and even people that aren't necessarily sort of intimate connections or close friends, I would say, in my life, but people who I sort of know from my community and have meaningful contact with, but in very small doses. And they're not necessarily a big part of my life. But the point is that I have a lot of people in my life who think very highly of me, specifically who see what I have to offer and really believe in what I am creating in my life and what I'm able to create in my life. Those highest heights of possibilities that even I have to work quite hard to believe in for myself sometimes. And I definitely need to include my parents in this, both my mum and my dad. I'm so lucky that they have always been people who have thought so highly of me. It's not that they think I'm perfect or anything, but they see those good bits of me. And they're never surprised when I do well. And if ever I'm down on myself, they're always like, whoa, wait a minute. I think you're forgetting who you are here. I think you're forgetting even just your past and what you've done before you're capable of anything. I'm so lucky. And I sincerely hope you have people in your life like that too. However, as we talk about in coaching, you don't need people in your life like that because of this concept that I'm talking about here, that other people's thoughts have more to do with them than with you. That's not to say that it's not a great advantage and an absolute delight to have these people in your life that do think highly of you, but coaching shows you that it's not necessary. And more than that, it shows you how you can extract that goodness that you get from having those people around and create more of that for yourself without relying on somebody else. And this is especially important, and this applies to me too, in the times where I don't have that external validation. It's not at my fingertips, so it's not available, or, I'm at the start of the journey, or maybe even just I'm not reaching out to these people. And so it's essentially not available to me at that time. But I know there are also people in this life who don't have anyone in their space that really believe in them and think of them in the highest regard and see what's good about them and focus on that. And this is especially important for people like you. Because if we're relying on other people for that and they can't give it to us, they're not giving it to us, we don't have access to it, then we're just stuck. But if we recognize our role in it, then we have somewhere to go with this. Then we can actually create something good for you from this, even from this hard place of realizing that you don't get that advantage of having these people in your life. So let's first revisit from a mindset coaching perspective how other people's thoughts or the words that they say can actually affect us, how other people's thoughts about us can affect us. Because what you'll hear me say over and over again in coaching is that other people can't affect you, not without your consent. You're the gatekeeper. And it might not seem like you're the gatekeeper because people can say things to you or do things that seemingly directly affect you. But this can happen because we are subconsciously below the level of our awareness, accepting what they are saying or suggesting with their behaviors as being true, right? However, if they say that and you accept that as true, even just on some level as true, then you taking on that thought, you believing that thought can emotionally affect you, and that emotional affect will then flow into your behaviors as well, and ultimately your results. That is our cognitive program. Your thoughts have feelings, they create emotions, which then create behaviors or drive behaviors. Now I like to use the example of if I was to say to an Olympic swimmer, you are a terrible swimmer, you are just so bad at swimming. They probably wouldn't. I wouldn't expect that person to be hurt by my opinion of them, because in their mind they would be like, that's weird. Why would they think I'm not a good swimmer? I clearly am a very good swimmer. I have probably the top tier of objective evidence here that I am a good swimmer. And so whatever I say about their swimming abilities doesn't affect them because they are the gatekeeper. They don't believe that what I say is true. They don't accept what I say is true in their mind, and therefore there's nothing to drive a different behavior or result. So other people's thoughts can't directly affect you. And finally, let's talk about how other people's thoughts about you have more to do with them than you. So as much as I would love to accept my loving family and friends' opinions about me as being a reflection of this high regard that I so deserve, that I have earned, or that is true about me, as much as I would love to simply accept that as being true, the fact that they think it makes it true. The fact that they think it is a reflection on me. I understand that just like somebody's negative opinion of me has more to do with them than with me, so does their positive opinion of me, right? These people are looking at me, a whole complex human, with all of my positives and, inescapably, all of my negatives. And these people believe in me, and these people have thoughts about me that are positive. These people hold me in a high regard, not because the positive things about me are so overwhelming and they outweigh the negative, or not even because I have more positive than negative, but simply because they take that perspective of me. They choose to see the positive and blow up the positive and lift the positive. They choose to find the magic in me and filter through the negative and pay attention to the positive more than the negative. And these people probably do, in all of their magnificence, hold both the positive things about me and the negative things about me. That is one way that people can have this positive opinion of me, that they just focus more, they give more attention to the positive than the negative. Now, another level, and something that I think is even more impressive and something that I want to do more and more in my life, is another reason that these people can think so highly of me and hold me in such high regard, is because not only can they see the positive, but they see the negative and they don't let that negate my positives. They can hold these two things as true at once. That I can have these positive traits and that those positive traits make me worthy of being believed in or worthy of holding in a high regard. And the negative traits don't actually negate that. They don't take away from that. These people don't think in a dichotomous way. They think in a way that is yes and. This is true and that can also be true at the same time. One doesn't cancel out the other. They recognize that as a false dichotomy. So all of this to say, the reason that these people think highly of me, the reason that these people have positive things to say about me, the reason that these people believe in me, the reason that these people hold me in a high regard is not about me. Just like if somebody thinks negatively about me, it's not about me. It says so much more about their mindset, the way that they think, where they put their attention, how they hold positives and negatives, what their mindset is, rather than whether I have earned it or am worthy of it or not. And none of this is meant to be self-deprecating. But if anything, if you are somebody who feels like you're really getting stuck in people's negative opinions of you, or perhaps you're finding that you're very reliant on people's positive validation of you, you're very reliant and you're often subconsciously seeking out people's approval and validation to know if you're on the right track or doing the right thing. Both of these things have more to do with other people's opinion of you than with you. And I want you to use this to keep working towards freeing yourself from being reliant on what other people think. One final thing I'll say. Just because I know that other people's opinions have more to do with them than me, doesn't mean I disregard these beautiful, generous, delightful collection of thoughts from these people I adore and respect and love and admire so much in my life. A big part of coaching is not necessarily figuring out what is true or factual. That's a little tool that we use, but it's more about figuring out what is useful. So the way that I use this is when I have people's negative opinions of me and they're getting me down, I use this understanding, I use this concept of recognizing that it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with me. And when it comes to people who have these high opinions of me, and if I notice that that has a positive effect on me, if I like the way it affects me emotionally, if I like the way it affects my behavior, then I will hold on to those thoughts. I'll use those thoughts. I'll borrow those opinions of others and I'll use them as evidence for me too, as long as it's useful to me. As long as it's helping me show up in the world in the way that I want to, as long as it's helping me create the results I want, that's what I care about. Because the quest to figure out what is true or not true, the quest to work out if you can try and consider all of my positives and negatives in my personality in any one moment, let alone in the totality of my life, it's impossible to know if it's true, if I am a person worthy of this regard, right? It's an undoable task. So instead of trying to always focus and fixate on what's true and factual and scientific and so on, sometimes the focus in coaching is on doing what's useful to you, showing up as the person that you want to be in the world in your values, and what's useful to you executing on and achieving your mission in life, the difference that you want to make in this world in this short time. So my beautiful friends, I hope this one was enjoyable. I hope it's starting to fill those gaps to help you be more empowered in your life. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. And if this is the kind of work that you know you need in your life, then Dare Darling, our group coaching program, is the place for you. And I can't wait to meet you inside.